in yet another shooting that involves someone apparently being at the wrong place, this time in North Carolina, a man, 24-year-old man, shot a 6-year-old child and her father for what? A basketball rolling into his yard. Now, the alleged shooter, 24-year-old Robert Louis Singletary, is currently on the run, as far as I know, armed and dangerous, fled the scene of the shooting. Neighbors at the scene said that multiple shots of gunfire were in response to just children that were playing. They were playing ball. In fact, Jonathan Robinson, who described Singletary as being known for yelling at local children, told Charlotte station WBTV that they were just playing basketball and a ball rolled into his yard and they went to go and get it. And then, of course, this guy got his gun and started shooting. The neighbor said, quote, "It was just crazy. He came out with this is the young girl, by the way. Her name is 6-year-old. She is 6-year-old Kinsley White. Thankfully, she survived. She's all right. But the father is in serious condition, hospitalized. Now, here's what Kinsley said, quote, "He came out with a gun. He started shooting. Hope my daddy is okay." Remember, this girl's 6. And some madman with a gun shot her and her dad for, again, literally no reason. No reason at all. In fact, witnesses also told WSOCTV that the gunman ran up and down the street, firing until he ran out of bullets. Kinsley was hospitalized after being seriously wounded, but released overnight. Her father, William, remains in the hospital. White's mother also was shot at, but was only grazed and was treated at the scene. She told WSOC that she had heard the gunman make a threat to her husband and daughter. Very explicit threat. I'm going to kill you. So that's, yeah. And then they tried. Now, Singletary is now wanted on 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder, 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, inflicting serious injury, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon. So this person should not even have had a gun in the first place. So my question there is, how did this person get their hands on a gun? Who should obviously not have a gun? Well, according to the Daily Beast, let's get to him being a felon first. According to the Daily Beast, in September, Singletary was arrested for assaulting his girlfriend with what police described as a mini sledgehammer. He allegedly prevented her from leaving his apartment until she cleaned up the evidence of the assault. The woman was able to escape 2 hours later, so he already had been arrested, somehow still got his hand on a gun. What a dangerous person. How? Well, it turns out the gun laws in North Carolina were recently, loosened. North Carolina had used to require a person obtain a permit before purchasing a handgun. In order to get the permit, you would have to have a criminal federal background check. Republicans, who were in the majority, eliminated that. They got rid of it and actually overrode the governor's veto. So there it is. State law also prohibits people from possessing firearms if they're subject to domestic violence restraining orders, which, again, that should have been there. And also required them to give up firearms they already own, which apparently did not happen. Now, under the bill, however, passed by Republicans, sheriffs were no longer required to perform evaluations of an applicant's character and mental wellness, or again, do any of these background checks. And so, look, I don't know if the gun this man had was a legal gun. I don't know if it was illegal, but apparently at this point, it doesn't really matter. Now, he shot a child. I mean, could there have been ways to prevent this? I don't know in this particular case because I don't know if it was legal or not. But certainly Republicans did everything in their power to make sure people like this had easier access to weapons. Now, this is another situation where somebody apparently wrong place near a madman with a gun. Earlier on Tuesday, 2 cheerleaders were shot in Texas outside of a grocery store when one of them mistook a parked car for her own. I've done that before. I got ADHD, so yeah, I get like sometimes I get in my head, I get distracted, whatever. And I remember one time I was at the grocery store, bought a bunch of groceries, went out to a car that looked exactly like mine, and turns out it wasn't mine. I'm still here. I didn't get shot for it. I've also went to the wrong house before and didn't get shot because of it. What is going on in this country? That's not the only one. And also, first, let me do the other story here about the cheerleaders. The owner followed them back to the friend's car and then shot them both. Oh, no, what are you talking about? I was standing my ground. It's Texas, so I wouldn't be surprised if they use that excuse. Now, on Saturday, I covered the story as well, when a 20-year-old woman was fatally shot in Hebron, New York. It's a very rural area of New York. She and her friends in a car pulled into somebody's driveway, and a 65-year-old man came out and just started blasting. Unfortunately, that took the life of 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis. Recently, recent reports on that as well showed that the shooter had absolutely no remorse for what had happened, for killing a young woman who had done absolutely nothing wrong. Then, of course, this also follows 16-year-old Ralph Yarl, who was shot in the face for, accidentally going to the wrong door in Missouri. He was just there to pick up his younger siblings, went to the wrong house. I've done that before. I've went to the wrong house before. And 84-year-old Andrew Lester shot him once, came outside, shot him again. And he's lucky to be alive. This is an example of how apparently our country has lost their minds. Gun culture in this country is insane. Everybody's armed, everyone has guns, and apparently everyone is either, shouldn't have guns in the first place or scared of everybody else and is now shoot first, ask questions later. Or don't ask questions at all, just start firing. This is not a country that we should be living in. This is not a situation that we should be having here in this country. It makes me go back to what Charlie Kirk said with all these different shootings that were going on, the mass shootings. What's this the price of liberty, freedom? Does this look like liberty? Does this look like freedom? Don't we have the freedom to not be shot for going to the wrong house? For not accidentally pulling into a wrong driveway or going to get a basketball? Do we not have the freedom to not get shot at or potentially murdered for, doing nothing wrong? Apparently we don't in this country. Apparently people with weapons have more rights than any of us. The weapons themselves apparently have more rights than the rest of us. And it's all, I think, mainly due to cowardice, greed, people that bow to the gun lobby and get paid. Just another day in America.
USA, USA, USA.